How crucial are William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes to Arsenal and Arsenal's defensive success this season? You might be thinking, what do you mean defensive success? Well, Arsenal do have the second fewest goals conceded in the Premier League this season. They face the second fewest total XG, only second to Man City again with the goals conceded, and they face the joint fewest shots in the league again, tied with Man City. So they're doing something right, Arsenal, defensively, and we want to explore that in this video. Welcome back to In Focus. This is a chance for us to either take a player in the squad who's doing really well, a player that we're linked with, or just take something in particular that we want to just go into really good detail about because they deserve it, because there's more to explore. And then William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes deserve to be looked at as a partnership. They deserve to be looked at as two who have just been brilliant across last season and continue to be this season as well. We actually started the season with Gabriel out the side a little bit, all the links to, a club in Saudi Arabia. We know Real Madrid were loosely linked. He didn't move, he stayed. Arsenal were tweaking things with sort of Thomas Partey in the inverted right back and all that. But anyway, we're back to our tried and trusted centre-back partnership that, like I said, performed brilliantly last season and this season have made a staggering start to the season. And we want to break it down because, like I said, as a pair, they're brilliant. And you could talk about them individually. You could talk about William Saliba, the young, the Mbappe of centre-backs, this generational talent who, we are so excited about, who some are saying is on the brink of world class already. And Gabriel, who has been there from the days we finished 8th all the way up to the title race, has played with multiple different partners and has come through a lot, but has been an absolute colossus for Arsenal, developed into somewhat of a leader. And just as a two, I'm absolutely loving them. Now, I mentioned some of those really great defensive stats. We may as well pull them back up. The fact that in the Premier League, like I said, doing really well for goals conceded, really well for XG against and shots faced. These are just three very basic stats that Arsenal are coming out certainly on top of. Well done for a team that's sitting second in the table. You somewhat expect it. Funnily enough, though, Man City, who are third, aren't top, and they are really doing well defensively themselves. Now, when talking about how crucial Saliba and Gabriel are, you've got to look at everything that makes a good-sided defensive unit. And you can't just go, well, your two centre-backs are there, they're very, very good, so, everything's sorted. Get two world-class centre-backs, I'm not saying they're world-class, get two world-class centre-backs and fine, you're never going to concede a goal again. Football doesn't work like that. A lot of it is down to things like structure and personnel. And I want to start with the personnel who are obviously helping and playing their part in Arsenal looking a lot better defensively, and William Saliba and Gabriel being able to do the jobs they need to do in the best way possible. Let's look at some of these players. Declan Rice this season is FBref percentile rankings have been ranking very comfortably well in things like tackles in the middle third, blocks, interceptions and clearances. This is my timely reminder to anyone who doesn't know what we mean by percentile ranking. FBref collates the numbers of every player in a particular position. So Declan Rice will be looking at all his sort of attacking, defensive, whatever stats, comparing them to all midfielders in the Premier League and seeing where he ranks. The closer you are to 100, the higher you rank. So he's doing pretty well in a lot of those, Declan Rice. Now, Gabby Jesus, actually because of his injury, hasn't played quite enough football to basically get a percentile ranking in the Premier League for this season alone. But for the 22-23 Premier League season, I mean, unbelievable. You say they're close to 100, the better. 99 for tackles, 98th percentile for dribblers tackled, 99th percentile for blocks, and 97th for interceptions. Two core players at the core of Arsenal's team who are fantastic defensively playing in front. And even players like Eddie Nketiah and Kai Havertz, who are, I would say, criticised by the Arsenal fan base. I think that's fair to say. And perhaps as two attacking players, there are certainly questions over their output and what they do for the team's fluidity and all that. But I think one of the big reasons Arteta will really like them and trust them in this team is, again, because of the work they do defensively. Nketiah's 23-24 percentile rankings have him ranking decently for tackles in the middle third, very good for tackles in the attacking third, very good for interceptions, and more than decent for passes blocked as well. Kai Havertz, a similar situation. How about these some numbers? Tackles in the middle third, 97th percentile, 82nd for tackles in the attacking third, 89th percentile for dribblers tackled, and 92nd for challenges lost. He very, very rarely loses a challenge that he goes into, Kai Havertz, and so defensively they're doing their thing. Now, when you've got a really good structure in front that's doing their thing, that's not to mention Martinelli's insane work rate, Bukayo Saka's phenomenal work rate, the amount he drops back to cover as well. The way Martin Odegaard presses with the team and leads the press alongside the striker is crucial as well. Everyone is doing their bit for Arsenal. The personnel are doing their thing in front. Crucially, the coaching staff are doing their thing on the side as well. And this is an opportunity to talk about Arsenal's structure. Now we take it to the tactical pad, and we've got here Arsenal's 4-3-3 against your generic 4-3-3. Arsenal's defensive structure is one of the best. Listen, in the world, I don't watch enough football around the world. It's certainly one of the best in the Premier League. There is no doubt about it. Now, we've got our team here in a 4-3-3. Let's give them the ball. Well, we move them into an attacking shape. And Arsenal are very, very good at going man for man. They've shown that, Arsenal. They can go man for man, press all over the pitch. They can go and be really front-footed. Now, this is important because the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, they need to be very, very good in there. They're the last line of defence. Literally, but that's also a bit of a phrase that's thrown around. They are the last line. If you bypass that press, you need defenders like William Saliba and Gabriel that you can trust to recover, and they are two you absolutely can. That's why Arsenal's press is so good, because they press with trust. A goalkeeper that they know can step out their line and cover. Ramsdale's done it at times. Raya can certainly do that. But more crucially, centre-backs have incredible recovery pace, and Gabriel, Saliba, and sometimes Ben White drops back as well. Tomiyasu has played. They're also very good at getting into a mid-block Arsenal. We saw this against Man City. It's a phenomenal structure. They're very good at condensing that real central middle of the pitch, making it really hard to play through, whether it's Kai Havertz that drops in, sometimes he'll join the press and Odegaard will slot in. They're very good at being congesting that middle of the pitch, allowing nothing through the middle, and they're very good at dropping into a deep block. That's Jesus, who we've got on the left, Saka out on the right. It would be Martinelli as well on the left sometimes. They're very good at dropping to support the fullbacks. They can make a back six at times. They can make a back five, then someone comes in to make it midfield three. They can do so many. They can find lots of variations because they understand who they're meant to be marking, who they're meant to be stopping, and where they're meant to be in all three phases of the pitch. Fantastic structure deployed by Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff. Great job, and the players are executing it magnificently. Now, some of that, can be broken down into stats like this. When we talk about Arsenal doing their job in the middle third and how much that helps, the centre-back Saliba and Gabriel, and the fact that a lot of the defending is done necessarily before it gets to them. Some of this will prove it. Let's have a look at Arsenal's tackles breakdown, for example. Again, via FBref, we can see that Arsenal actually rank 18th for tackles in the defensive third. They don't like to do most of their defending so deep. But when you get to the middle third, they rank first. It's quite a jump, isn't it? From barely engaging deep in their own third to engaging massively in the middle third. And then you look at the press in the attacking third, it drops down to 8th as well. Arsenal's definitely a team that want to do their defending in that middle core area of the pitch, because you've got Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, who are big players. Thomas Partey, when he's in there as well, they can sweep up. Odegaard works incredibly hard. And Saliba and Gabriel can step up into midfield, can step up and be proactive and win the ball. And you can understand how Arsenal are doing really well in the attacking third. And you've got to have players that are very good at intercepting. They're very good at stepping forward, reading the game, but recognise they can get forward and try to win the ball because they're quick enough to do it. But if they get it wrong, they're quick enough to get back. And that's where Gabriel and Saliba's key attributes are really important. Now, why can Arsenal play like this? I've just mentioned their sort of pace as well. But there's a few other things. They've got power, they've got physicality, they've got, what have people said about Van Dijk for a long time? An aura. And that's hard to measure statistically. I tried to have a look at some things. Here's a little tweet from Squawker Live, for example. Arsenal's first choice centre-back pairing, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, have been dribbled past just once in the Premier League so far this season. You don't get round them, you don't want to go at them. There's other things, for example, individual defensive stats that again come from FBref that are really impressive. If you look at, for example, the percentage of dribblers tackled, Gabriel ranks highly with 80%, that's an 82nd percentile ranking. Saliba has managed a 100% rate of dribblers tackled with a 96th percentile ranking there. And they rank really high as well for challenges lost, as you can see there. But some things they rank low in are things like tackles won, and interceptions. Those are low percentile rankings. When you sort of compare, other than interceptions for Gabriel, they actually aren't tackling that much. They're not intercepting too much. Even though I just mentioned they've got the ability to get in front of their men, they're not doing that often. Now, this could be because of a range of things. This could be because Arsenal have a lot of the ball, so actually they're not going to do that much defending, and therefore other players' defensive numbers, they're going to climb up. So I thought to myself, but Gabriel and Saliba are brilliant. I can see they're brilliant. So how do I find numbers that will prove it? What can I find? I was trying to look at things like, they're proactive defenders. You don't want to go down the route of William Saliba and Gabriel. How do you prove this? How do you illustrate how great they are? Well, I tried to have a little look at things like, you can break the pitch into attacking third, sort of left, central and right. And I looked at, in fact, all 8 teams and where they attacked us and to see if their average for the season dipped. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Man United against us attack down the middle less than they do for their average of the season, suggesting that maybe they're staying away from the likes of Saliba and Gabriel and trying to find an outside route. That was the same for Tottenham. For Man City, it was roughly the same. For Nottingham Forest as well, they went down the wings more. They didn't attack centrally to stay away from our fantastic centre-backs that include William Saliba, whether it be Ben White, Gabriel, whoever. I thought, okay, well, there's a little bit something in this. Then I looked at, however, Crystal Palace, Fulham, and who else was it? I think the Everton, they did go centrally. They went much more centrally against us than against other teams. However, Palace and Everton didn't score, so maybe that tells you that they got that wrong. So I couldn't find anything there. I was trying to look at some stats that would prove that teams are staying away from Saliba and Gabriel, but I couldn't find anything there. So I kept digging. I was trying to find what is it that's going to prove it. I've pulled up some FB ref stats. I've pulled up some bits and bobs here. And then I realised it's actually not quantifiable. So this iPad here I've got in my hand, I may as well just pop it down. There's no point. Because actually, this goes back to a video I did with Graham on Tactical Insight about a month ago maybe. Stats versus the eye test. Stats can tell you so much. And I use them to support my points. I just have in this whole video so far. But sometimes you just have to watch a player and watch the way they defend and the way they do things to realise how brilliant they are. And I think this is very true of Gabriel and William Saliba. How do you quantify Gabriel, basically bicycle kick clearing it in the air against Man City, the other day when we beat them 1-0? How do you quantify William Saliba doing actually quite literally a similar thing away at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea last season, where a ball's played sort of through the middle, quite high up in the air, and he just reaches up with his right foot, brings it down, gets back up and plays. He did the same thing against Haaland. He looked like he tripped, but still managed to get a toe on it, turned from Haaland and away. He was brilliant. They're winning their duels. They are so good in their individual battles. They are so good at showing a confidence in everything they do. How do you quantify confidence? They do that so much that the likes of Erling Haaland, they have struggled against Gabriel and Saliba, not just in that last occasion, in a few occasions. He struggled against them in the FA Cup game last season. He struggled against them in the Community Shield, and now here at the Emirates. He had a very good time against Rob Holding and Arsenal, in fairness, with Gabriel in a few other games. But my point is, the best striker in the world, they're doing a really good job against. Heung-min Son scored against us, did really well. One was a mistake from Jorginho. We're going to actually talk about the errors Arsenal made leading to goal. But again, Saliba and Gabriel, look how little Marcus Rashford got in the game against them. Actually, was he playing up front? I can't remember. It was Martial. Martial really struggled to lead the line. Haaland came on and gave Gabriel a really torrid time, but Gabriel still largely came out on top in that battle. There's something about the way they defend. There's a confidence that even just by stepping into your space, you have them going the other way. Look at that clip from the Community Shield where Erling Haaland looked like he was there was a bit of a counter for Man City. Saliba goes all the way with him, and then he ends up turning all the way inside, running basically like almost a quarter of the pitch back before he lays off to Man City to play again. They have a presence, Saliba and Gabriel, that I think sets the tone for everything Arsenal do. And all the stats I pulled up that are really impressive. From the tackles in the middle third, engaging really well in that area of the pitch, to the different versions of the press they can deploy, and the different defensive structures. I don't think any of this is possible if you don't have two extremely solid centre-backs who are intelligent, fantastic on the ball, because you need to be able to play out the back, and Arsenal do that, and it starts with their centre-backs as well. To players who can recover if you do go long beyond the press, to players who can engage in lots of different ways. They win their headers, they win their ground duels, they can dribble in space. They can do pretty much everything, and they complement each other so well. How do you quantify all that? Let me know in the comments below. And actually, you know what? If you find a load of great evidence and research and data that supports everything I'm saying, maybe we'll do a part 2. Because all I can say is watch these two and you'll understand just how brilliant they are. I think without them at the back, they are the pillars for this team. And without them, it can fall apart very easily. Have we seen this before? Look at the end of last season. Look at the end of last season. Not throwing shade at Rob Holding, not our player anymore, and whatever. Best of luck at Crystal Palace. But you could see when you didn't have a player that could defend and be as complete in everything we do as Saliba, not only does it bring down Gabriel's performances and everyone around him, but the whole thing just starts to collapse because confidence in every phase of what we do falls away. So don't underestimate, on the ball, off the ball, mentality-wise, leadership, confidence, whatever it might be, these two are at the very heart of setting the tone for Arsenal. Yes, they got help in front of them with fantastic players. Yes, they got a brilliant structure, but Mikel Arteta's done really well to recognise that these are the two to build your defence and core of the team, your spine of the team around. Fair play to William Saliba and Gabriel. I love watching them. Got to have your stats sometimes, but go watch them and you'll know everything you need about these two brilliant players. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Hit the like button if you have. Subscribe to AFTV and go check out all the other content coming out on this channel. I can't wait to see Gabriel and William Saliba back in action for Arsenal. Only a week or so until the end of the international break. We've nearly got our Arsenal back. I can't wait. Many thanks. Catch you in a bit.